I wanted to start by talking about that final sequence at the end of the finale because you and Ben have talked extensively about how originally the idea was to have Mark by himself in the hallway and not necessarily to show which way he was going to go between Helly and Gemma. And I was interested in how you then landed upon the choice of making that decision that it's him and Helly.
Yeah, well, we did talk about a number of different versions of it. In my head, it was always, I always knew that he was going to choose to stay, whether we showed that or not. Because to me, that was sort of central to any Mark's growth over the course of the season. You know, the first time you see him, he comes out of the elevator this season and he runs straight for Gemma, for Miss Casey, as opposed to going to see like if Helly or Irving or Dylan are okay. And I think at that point, he's still very much sees himself as sort of a utility of his outie. Whereas by the end, he's come to understand that he's kind of his own person and find value in that. So that was always the answer in my head, whether or not we showed it.
And you've always mentioned that you know exactly where the show ultimately is going to. And so when you were working on season 2 and thinking about the finale, how did you find, where do we feel like pacing-wise and story-wise we want to carry things to, with the idea of the ending still being somewhere down the road?
Yeah, it's always something that you're sort of reconfiguring a little bit because you want to be willing to let the show surprise you and fall in love with something you didn't expect to fall in love with. But I did want to get to this point. I didn't want to leave this season with, you know, Gemma still sort of not knowing where she is or what's going on and leaving her down there. I just felt bad. I felt bad for her. I was like, we put her through so much. Let's at least get her up to the next floor.
The show always does such a phenomenal job at balancing between places of tension and places of emotion and even some of the lightness with the humor. But the finale especially just really raised that tension to a whole other level. How did you do that whilst making sure that you maintained the emotional intimacy of the show?
Yeah, it was funny because we were talking about it, and I remember at some point somebody was like, this feels like is this too, are there too many big swings between tone here? Because you literally have this knockdown, drag-out fight and this horrific moment in the elevator and a marching band and a weird comedy routine with a robot. And then you've also got these quiet, heartbreaking little moments between people who love each other. But to me, that's kind of always been the secret sauce of the show is that, we're not afraid to sort of swing pretty widely between different emotions and different tones, and the humor is important to that. You have to sort of be willing to embrace the strangeness of the world and have fun with it.
And so much of that obviously happens from the way that you're cutting between the different scenes and the different spaces within the building during that last half of the finale. Did you kind of come up with that sense of where it was going to cut between scenes as you were writing it, or did a lot of that come together in the edit room?
A lot of that was in the edit, yeah. I mean, well, the sort of overall shape of it was in the script, but you always stuff always changes in the edit a little bit, and moments that you didn't think of pairing together end up pairing great. And that's part of the fun.
Well, congratulations. It's an incredible finale. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.